All right. So I guess the way I would approach this, first of all, I was raised in a Christian family, Southern Italian Catholic, actually. Went to India and became a Hindu monk, as you mentioned, and was there for nearly 10 years. Uh, at the advice of my teacher, I came back to America, studied, ended up getting a PhD, and have been teaching for 31 years at the University of Hawaii. And the issue of religious freedom is interesting because I saw it from the perspective um, of India, and especially dealing with the people who I lived with, which were primarily low caste village people. And the concept and the approach to religion, as I saw in India, and the approach to religion that I see here. And I see problems in each place and promises in each place. But I think the real important is when we think about freedom of religion, we have to also think, for those of us who want freedom of religion, we have to think, do we allow it, right? We want freedom for the religion for ourselves, but do we allow it for others? And I think that's a really important one because too often the people who are preaching or asking for religious freedom don't allow that for others. And I think that's really important. We have to think about that. And I think one of the, and also those who want freedom from religion also have, in that way, they do the same kind of thing. And I say that coming from a university, right? University, and I think most people know, is a very liberal institution these days. And to many people, liberal means anti-religious. If you have a religious belief, you're not very welcomed on most campuses. Now, if that's different, if you're in a Christian campus or something like that, it's different. But in most liberal institutions, public universities, there's not a lot of allowance. There are certain ones, the politically correct traditions can be allowed. And I say this as an ex-Christian, I think some of the people who are persecuted the most are Christians. Um, because people think too many people have come from Christianity at the university and they're not ex-Christians, they're anti-Christian. They think that Christianity is not to be, if you take Christianity serious, and I say that in a religion department. As I said, I've been there 31 years, and when we hire people, we don't really have a Christian position. Ours is an Asian religious tradition, Asian and Pacific Island traditions, but we have from time to time brought in someone to teach Christianity in a tenure track position. And I hear even amongst my own colleagues, oh, well, they're a believer, so we don't know if we want to hire them. And if you're not a believer, how can you really understand the tradition that you're talking about? And I found this with so many of my friends, colleagues around the world, that and the same thing, they're afraid of practitioners. I was on an American Academy of Religion panel in November. We normally meet in person in November. Obviously, we did it online this time. And the name of the panel was Scholar Practitioners. And it was about those of us who are practitioners and scholars. And what does it mean to be a scholar and a practitioner? And I think most of our approaches was that if you really want to understand something, you understand it from the inside and the outside. But part of understanding it from the inside is also understanding that it's very personal to me. And once I understand that religion is personal to me, I have to allow that your religion is personal to you too. And so I think a real practitioner is the one who allows freedom of religion, not the one who thinks my religion is superior. Because if I'm simply, my religion is superior, and therefore you want to give me the ability to practice my religion is superior, but I really think everybody else should practice it too. I think that's problematic. What we have to do is say, my religion is great for me, and I bet you your religion is great for you. And I think that if we can do that, that's when, so those of us who are practitioners, we need to lead the charge in that, in really encouraging people, get to know traditions, get to know them, get to know how people, what they mean to the individuals who follow them. And if that means, if it works for them, then that's great. I think that, well, I'll just give you an incident that happened to me. So after years of being a monk, my teacher came to America because he had followers who had immigrated to America, and they came. And so I came to be his translator. And then we met a variety of people here, Indians who are now living here. And he met my parents, and my parents were poor. And he said, you need to come back and take care of them, help them out, and which I did. And he said, get an education so you can teach. So I came back and I started doing that, and I started teaching. And what I found was that students were really interested in in traditions, and they wanted to understand, what is religion all about? And what I found is that most of my students, they don't really understand religion. I mean, though they've been raised in a country that is, try to understand the value of your tradition and the value of other traditions. One of the things I get my students to do is go out and study, go out and meet people from another tradition. And here in Hawaii, we have all various religions, right? Especially a lot of Asian and Pacific Island traditions. So I get my students, I would just encourage is that those of us who want freedom of religion, we have to get out and we have to lead by example. And we have to encourage others to participate, to understand. I visit my neighbors' homes in the same way I visit. So I have two kids. I've taken them to various religious traditions, the festivals, the holy places of traditions, to get them to understand that if we believe that the divine is one, whether we think it is male or female is irrelevant, I think. But if we think the divine is one, then why does the label on the particular home or the particular building matter? If the divine is one, it's the same divine in your building as it is in my building. And I think a lot of Indians approach it that way. I mean, that's the way I was taught to approach it. And I think that if we can do that, then we can really have freedom of religion.